A 2017 Youth Risk Survey found that 33% of LGBT students reported being bullied, and 27% reported being cyberbullied. Those numbers are huge, and I think we all agree that we dislike bullying, but sometimes it can be really hard to stand up against bullying because we don't always know when it's happening. Hi, my name is Zach, and I'm bringing this to you with my organization GLAD, but I've also tried to stop the problem of LGBT bullying by trying to create a gay-straight alliance at my old school. But hopefully by the end of this presentation, you guys will kind of recognize this really cool holiday that GLAD has tried to nationalize. And that's because they saw an issue that was happening with LGBT youth and bullying, and then they tried to nationalize a holiday that some people were already trying to start. And hopefully you guys can make the next Spirit Day a super Spirit Day for your friends and family. So the first thing we have to do is really recognize the problem that LGBT youth face with bullying. And they face a lot of bullying, actually. It affects them a whole lot more than non-LGBT students because there can be a lot of people in schools that aren't as supportive. And this isn't just a thing that could happen to your high school or your college friends, because harassment and bullying still continues into college. I know not everyone knows that, but it's a thing. But it can also happen to your younger cousins and siblings in things like middle school. To actually show you how much of an issue this is, here is a visual representation of some data that was found from saferclassrooms.org, and they found that 8 out of 10 LGBT people reported being verbally harassed. And that doesn't include the physical harassment or cyberbullying either, and that's a lot. And sadly, this leads to a whole larger issue, and that is that when they are bullied, they get less support. They get less support from home because not all homes are supportive, or if they are, the people might not be out or they don't feel comfortable talking about it with their family. But it can also be from the school themselves because schools sometimes have a really difficult time dealing with homophobia. I know at least in my school, we had 3 different principals over my 4 years I was there, and depending on which principal was there, homophobic actions were kind of treated differently, especially in how severely they were treated. And this leads to a lot of psychological distress for LGBT people. In fact, Professor McConnell works at Palo Alto University, and she's also part of an LGBT organization. And she found in a 2016 article for Journal of Adolescent Health that youth who have no family support but still have some kind of support have little psychological distress. But if that same youth has no support at all, they end up having really high distress. And sadly, this kind of distress leads to a very serious issue past just the regular issues that bullying leads into, like depression. It leads to a really high increased suicide rate for LGBT individuals. And sadly, this kind of rate doesn't just face your own friends and family that are in high school or college. It can affect your younger siblings also. In fact, Professor Ream is a professor at Adelphi University, and he found in a 2019 article for the Journal of Adolescent Health that a quarter of the 12 to 14-year-olds who committed suicide were LGBT. And that number, sadly, isn't getting any better with the coronavirus. Because of the coronavirus, people are finding it harder to reach out to their support networks because they're not as physically there as often. And again, not every home, sadly, is that accepting of LGBT issues. And Claire Kenny, who's actually GLAD's Director of Youth Engagement, found and stated that calls to Trevor Project Hotline have more than doubled at certain times during the corona pandemic. This is a huge issue with serious, literal life-ending consequences, and it can be really hard to kind of deal with it because your family or friends may not be out, or they might not be telling you that they're facing harassment. However, GLAD had recognized this, and they're trying to help nationalize a holiday that'll help deal with this, and it's called Spirit Day. And Spirit Day is this really cool holiday in which you basically do a really simple thing that I'll get onto in a little bit. And all you have to really do for it is you have to wear something purple, like this shirt I'm wearing, or something else. It's also on the 3rd Thursday of every October. And really what this does is it really just helps show your family and friends, or just anyone around you that you're there for LGBT people and the problems that they face with that kind of bullying and harassment. In fact, Brittany McMillan is the creator of the holiday, and she also is on Advocates 40 Under 40 for shaping the LGBT movement's future, and she said, "I want Spirit Day to make one person feel safer and prouder of who they are. And together we can do that." To show just how great this community can be from Spirit Day, here's a picture of the entirety of Yahoo's kind of corporate side doing it. This was about 10 years ago when they were more of a bigger deal. But as you can see, it really just shows a giant community of people showing support for LGBT people. I do know, though, that this is a bit far away for you guys. After all, this is the third Thursday of October. But you can take an online pledge that shows that you're still thinking about them and taking care of these kind of issues, even if it's not the specific day. And it'll also alert you when it is more closer to Spirit Day to take part in it again. So if you look up Glad Spirit Day, you'll come to a website and you can find a little info blurb like this where you can fill out the information. The link's actually right there below it, glad.org/spiritday. And then you'll be put on a little bit of a mailing list that'll tell you about this kind of stuff later on. And just imagine how great this can be. We could really make the next Spirit Day a super Spirit Day for our friends and family. We can really let them know that we're there for them, even if they're not openly out, or if they are openly out, they're not telling you about the issues that they're facing. And it helps them feel safer because they know that they have someone on their side. And we can really make the next Spirit Day a super Spirit Day by helping save literal lives, from helping people deal with depressing issues that can, again, lead to those higher suicide rates. So let's go out and do this. Hopefully you guys have now recognized this great holiday that GLAAD's nationalizing, how great it is. Again, because they saw the issue that LGBT youth get with having more bullying, less support, which leads to more distress that sadly leads to higher suicide rates. How we can all kind of get together to show that we're with our family and friends through this great holiday that GLAAD nationalized, and how we can make the next Spirit Day a super Spirit Day to make them feel cared for when they might need it most. That way, we can literally save lives. So let's all go out and take the pledge. A quick Google search can make sure that 33% that feel bullied and that 27% that is cyberbullied feel loved and cared for by their friends and family.